Hello. The big news this week, of course, is Portland. And you haven't been able to get away from it. It's been in the news cycle for a very negative reason. We'll get into a little bit of that real quickly, just as kind of a PSA for you to send to friends and family who may be asking questions about what they're hearing in the news. But on a happier note, there are a whole bunch of startups building a whole bunch of cool things, and they are going to be pitching all over the state. There's a pitch competition in Portland. There's several pitch competitions in Central Oregon, in Bend. So I'm excited to talk about those. A new co-working space has opened in the Portland region up in Vancouver, Washington. That's going to be a big deal. Folks have been working on that for a long time, and I'm excited to see where that goes. And then a whole bunch of companies that I'll list off and tell you who landed on the GeekWire 200, which is a quarterly kind of ranking of companies in the Pacific Northwest. So it's nice to see a lot of Oregon companies on there, and thanks to our friends at GeekWire for making that happen. And then, of course, finally, if you stick around till the end, through all the news, through all the important stuff, I'll take a few seconds to share a few secrets with you here and there. All right? Let's get into it. You've probably seen some not so positive things about Portland, Oregon in the news lately. Let me reassure you, Portland is absolutely fine. And if you don't believe me, please take the opportunity to come visit us here. We'd love to see you, and we'd love to share our amazing city with you. And if you hurry, you might even make it in time for an emergency World Naked Bike Ride, which is the perfect Portland experience. Okay, now that we're done with that, I'm sorry we all have to deal with that. I'm sorry the news cycles are what they are, and that we're in this ridiculous timeline that we are, and it's stupid that we have to deal with that. But on the bright side, I'm seeing a lot of really interesting and positive stuff about Portland coming out. So it's all good. We'll get through it. But if you have people who are asking questions, hopefully that PSA can be helpful. Okay, to the quick news. Another week, another mention of Yak. I watched Shannon pitch at the Startup Grind AI Summit. It was kind of this global thing. There were hundreds and hundreds of people online while I was there. And I got to watch 4 companies, one of which was Yak, compete for the grand prize of the Startup Grind favorite startup in the world kind of thing. And while Yak didn't win, the pitch was really solid. Like, I was surprised it didn't win. Granted, I'm biased, but unfortunately Yak didn't win. But Shannon did get to take a global stage and share Yak with hundreds and hundreds of people, which is all good. And then Shannon will also be sharing Yak at Ben Venture Conference, which is coming up soon. Earth Class Mail strikes again. If you're not familiar with Earth Class Mail, they are not a startup anymore, but they started around here, and they are a digitized mail service. So you register for a PO box at Earth Class Mail, and you receive all your mail, they digitize it, they send it to you electronically, and really just take care of all your mail stuff so that you're not having to deal with it. Anyway, startups love Earth Class Mail. And so what winds up happening, it starts everywhere, love Earth Class Mail. So what winds up happening is every once in a while, somebody will report on a Beaverton-based startup that just raised a ton of money. And I'll be like, I've never heard of that company. I don't think that's a Beaverton company. And I'll do my research. And, sometimes I'm wrong. I'm like, oh, I didn't know about this company. And there is actually a company in Beaverton. But more often than not, it's because they've listed their Earth Class Mail address, which is all of the addresses are in Beaverton. So they've listed that as their physical address. And then the reporters have done their due diligence, and they've mistakenly identified Beaverton as where they're physically located when they're not. So that happened this week and continues to happen and will continue to happen. It's just a fun little thing that occurs because Earth Class Mail is in Beaverton. MicroConf is coming to Portland, MicroConf US. If you're not familiar with MicroConf, it's really the folks who are focused on solo founders who are bootstrapping SaaS solutions. So if that sounds like you, and it probably might be because, there are a lot of you here in Portland, their big conference is coming up in April. Tickets are spendy, but it's still in the early bird pricing right now. So if you really want to go hang out with a bunch of your peers who are bootstrapping SaaS solutions as well, grab a ticket as quickly as you can before the prices go up, because that you're not made of money. You got to bootstrap your startup. So excited to have MicroConf come here. It's not a huge, gigantic conference, but I'm just excited because it really seems to kind of like fit the ethos of a lot of the things that are being built here in Portland. So MicroConf US 2026 coming in April to Portland. And then not much longer now for High Desert Innovation Week, which includes pitches at the High Desert Innovation Fest, as well as Bend Venture Conference, now in its 22nd year. So the middle of October, not this coming week, but the following week will be High Desert Innovation Week, and I will be down in Bend for part of it. So if you're in Bend and want to catch up, please let me know. Or if you're headed down to Bend, I hope to run into you there. Speaking of pitches, it's time for Pitch Latino, happening October 9th at OMSI. I think a few tickets are still available. It's always a great evening. If you're not familiar with Pitch Latino, anyone who gets up on stage gets a check of some sort. So, I'm not a huge fan of pitch competitions. I think I mentioned that ad nauseum. But the thing I like about Pitch Latino, which was inspired by Pitch Black, so it kind of carries this through, is that they realize that founders' time is valuable. So not only do they give out kind of like prizes for crowd favorites and that kind of thing, but they also ensure that everybody who takes the opportunity to take the stage also receives a check. And then any of the money that's raised by ticket sales, any of the proceeds wind up going to all the startups that participate in some way or another. So if you're interested in what Latino founders in the region are building, if you'd like to see their pitches and hear their stories, grab your ticket for Latino Founders at OMSI on October 9th. Speaking of community gatherings, our friend Dave Varkos in Vancouver, he's really the community organizer for all the startup activity in Vancouver, and he finally got the chance to launch a long-held dream of his, the North Bank Innovations co-working space at the Vic. That launch happened last week and was attended by hundreds of people to come hang out and see what the facilities were like and meet some of the people who are going to work out of there and hear more about their plans for the future with the space. So really exciting times happening in Vancouver. There's a lot of really good activity in Vancouver, Washington, and Dave has been working on that stuff for a long time. So it's really nice to see him get the opportunity to not only share his vision with the community, but also really start to activate the strategy he's been working on for so long there in Vancouver. And I'll keep an eye on what's going on up there and keep you up to date. But I would also encourage you, Vancouver has any number of gatherings on probably almost a weekly basis for startup founders. So even if you're a curious Portland founder, I really encourage you to head up to Vancouver to see what's going on up there. There's really good energy and some really interesting companies and projects up there. So don't hesitate to head across the Columbia River to spend some time in the Vancouver, Washington startup community. And then continuing that segue, speaking of Washington, GeekWire is the tech crunch of the Pacific Northwest. They are the startup and tech focused publication for the Pacific Northwest. I remember them when they first started, and they had this vision for what was needed from a news and media company in the Pacific Northwest, and they built it into such a great resource for not only startup founders, but anyone in technology in the Pacific Northwest. I read their stuff every single day and always learn something new, not only about startups here in our region, but of course, all the startup activity and tech activity in Seattle as well, and Spokane and elsewhere. Anyway, GeekWire, they put together a regular, I think they do it on a quarterly basis, something called the GeekWire 200. And the idea behind the GeekWire 200 is just to give you a ranking of companies, startup companies in the Pacific Northwest, and kind of how they potentially align with one another and who seems to be doing the best and like who's kind of moving up the charts and all that kind of thing. So in a very like Casey Kasem, Dick Clark, you don't even understand those references, do you? Is it Carson Daly or Ryan Seacrest? I don't know. Anyway, it's somebody who does charts. Somebody who gives you the standings on a regular basis. That's like what the GeekWire 200. I'm so old, Casey Kasem. Come on. So anyway, the thing this time around, I just was like, I haven't looked at that in a few months, so I'll take a glance at it. And there were 15 Oregon companies on that list. So I wanted to read them off to you in descending order of where they appear on the list, just so you have an idea of interesting companies in our region that are gaining attention throughout the Pacific Northwest. Okay, at the top of the list was Agility Robotics, coming in at number 5. Responsive, which used to be RFP.io, is coming in at number 8. And then further down the list, we've got Customer.io, SheerID, Lumen Learning, Boulder Care, Ask Nicely, Hydraulics, 4eyes, TrovaTrip, The Dirt, The Source, SkyPoint, Eclipsium, and Reperio Health. So congratulations to all those companies on their growth. Congratulations on getting recognized by GeekWire. Now my goal is to get you all on stage for the GeekWire Awards. We see you getting on the lists, and GeekWire sees you building amazing things. Now, next for us is to get you on that stage with the trophies for doing amazing things and showing off what you're doing to the entire Pacific Northwest. We're already to the point of secrets. I take the last few minutes of the show to always share a few secrets with you about what's going on. And it's just been quiet lately, like not in a bad way, but I've been kind of poking around, talking to other people. I'm like, is it quiet? Are you hearing anything? Is anything going on over here? What's going on with you? What about this thing? Or this thing seemed to have a lot of momentum and now it doesn't. What's going on there? Or like, are the co-working spaces full? Like, are people out and about? How are the events doing? Anyway, it's, this can be a very busy season in many ways because it's kind of like where everybody's trying to wedge in work before the holidays become a thing. Or, if you are a venture scale startup that's trying to raise capital, this is kind of that last window to really get some deals done before, people start to fade away around Halloween or so. So it can be busy in that regard. That might be part of it. People might just be heads down building stuff or negotiating. And so we're just not seeing as much news and activity, but not in a concerning way, just in an interesting way. It's just seemed kind of quiet lately. And then the other, and I wonder if you're seeing that too. If you're seeing that, let me know, because I would like to know if I'm overthinking it, which I often do. The other thing is I've officially completed 2 straight years of weekly episodes of this show. So 104 episodes of the show, meaning this is episode 105, which means I've just begun year 3. So thanks for being here with me on year 3 and hoping to continue this show week to week, hoping you find it interesting. But as always, I'm open to critique and would love your feedback. So just let me know if there's anything interesting or things you'd like to hear or things I could be doing. I think I'm also going to try and get into a cadence. For a while, I was doing the show every week, but then I'd also do like one other video a week that was either a deep dive into a Portland startup, or it was kind of a startup 101 or VC 101 kind of piece. I might do some more of that content. I might do some more kind of like contextual, like this is what's going on in the broader startup community kind of piece to give you some context for where Portland and Oregon kind of fit in that regard. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a good cadence week to week, do the show every week, and guarantee I will do a show every week. And then I'd also like to get into a cadence of doing at least one other thing, but not that I'll need to stick to that, but I will stick to the show. And the show I've now shifted to, I used to record on Thursday nights. Now this is the first, starting year 3, I am recording this on Friday. So I'm also trying to figure out, like, can I record, edit, post, do my newsletter, get the video in the newsletter, and get all that stuff out on Friday evening? That's what I'm trying this time around. And it may be too much, yeah, or it may be totally doable. I don't know. I am experimenting. I'm giving it a shot. So let me know if Friday evenings work for you, or if you get to it over the weekend. That's great too. But that's kind of what's going on with me. I hope you're hanging in there. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.